Hey, what's going on? Doing a quick recap of the Cannonier Borralho card from this past week. And I had another negative week, unfortunately. So I think that puts it at 4 cards in a row where I come out in the negative, which is unfortunate because overall I've actually been profiting in the green, but we'll get into that. So we lost 2.7 units based on the bets that I gave out. Those exact bets are the following. So here they are. What really hurt was the Zach Reese didn't get a finish. If he had gotten a finish, that would have at least broken us even for sure, even if it wasn't in round one. And what did help a lot was Francis Marshall picking up a decision. That actually wasn't a play that was in my video because Francis Marshall was a late replacement for Danny Silva. And I also said Danny Silva will win by decision. And to be fair, to be completely fair, as soon as I uploaded that video, the Danny Silva fight got canceled, and then Francis Marshall was the replacement. And then I immediately said Francis Marshall would win by decision. So, and I put that in the comments. And I'm going to count it for me because had he lost or had he gotten finished or something like that, I would have counted it against myself. So I think that's fair. If we look at the fight by fight breakdown, you can see the Zach Reese fight was the most brutal one for us. Even though he won and we were on the right side, I picked him to win by finish, and he just didn't. Wasn't able to secure that, and really only bet 5 different fights here. If we look at how I did across all events, you'll actually see I did pretty well because I profited on pretty much every other card. I went. I think I missed one bet for KSW, but otherwise, like you can see, you know, everything else is in the green. Contender series broke even there, but I think LFA I hit every single bet. I clean sweep that one. So I still profited. Just the UFC specifically, I didn't, and that's what goes on the thumbnail, unfortunately. And to be fair, those are the only bets that I'm actually making public. Although if you're ever curious about any of my other regional bets, just put it in the comments and I'll reply. But I just don't have time to make videos or list them elsewhere. And here we have kind of like the elo recap. So the top chart will show like every single fight, the elo change. So R1B would be Kyle Barrios rating beforehand or Tabitha Ritchie's rating beforehand, and then R1A would be their rating afterwards, and then R2B would be for the other fighter, the losing fighter, right? And the win attribution here would indicate that, for example, Kyle Borralho won 73% of the rounds based off of what we see on MMA decisions. The Richie Angela Hill fight, that was very 50-50. So on MMA decisions, Richie won 48% of the rounds, right? That's kind of how you read this. So here's that. Most of the favorites won. So this was a week where if you just bet all favorites, you probably would have come out on top. Not too much, but still on top. And the 5 tables I have below, I kind of just picked 5 weight classes that I thought would be the most interesting. So on the far left here, we have the new rankings by ELO rating for middleweight, and you can see Kyle Borralho is now in the top 10. Cannonier is actually, I guess you'd consider him in the top 15. Dricus is number one. Maybe you still consider Kamaru Usman a welterweight to be, he's only in the middleweight rankings because it goes off of what their last, what their last weight class they fought at was. And, Kamaru fought Hamzat at middleweight last year. And then you can see Jaron Mearshart. He's, again, if you consider Dricus the champ and then Kamaru number one, for example, the way the rankings are set up, the official rankings, Mearshart's now top 20, right? The second one we have here, this is for women's strawweight. So Angela Hill and Richie, they're both, in the top 20, right? Hill top 15. Wasn't much of a rating change. Richie did get 15 points from Angela Hill. But despite the win, because it was so close, there's just not going to be much of a rating change. That's how I do my ratings, and I think I have the best ratings out there, to be honest. I mean, you can be the judge for yourself based off of how they're ranked, right? The third table will be welterweight. So we have Michael Morales. He's cracked the top 15 now, and actually, it's not shown on here. I think Neil Magny's now like in the top 30, like 28 or 29 or something like that. You know, he was so far down that I couldn't even include him. And again, the if you couldn't tell, the purple highlighted fighters, those are the ones that fought on the most recent card. Next, we have women's bantamweight. So you can see Cavalcanti and Nunes both in the top 20. Obviously, Cavalcanti, won that fight pretty clearly, 2-1. Took 40 points from Nunes. So Nunes dropped from the top 15, and Cavalcanti took her spot essentially. And then finally, I thought this one would be interesting. There weren't a lot of other weight classes that I thought would be interesting, so I looked at women's flyweight here, and Kong Wang I think had the best knockout of the night. The best performance of the night for sure. Because granted, Victoria Leonardo's a bum, but just starching someone the way she did in 1 minute in a women's weight class is basically unseen, unheard of. So, and you can see Kong Wang, she's in the top 30 now. I think she's only 6-0, so she's in the top 30 with only just a few fights, right? A lot of these other girls have, double, triple the amount of fights, maybe quadruple. So, impressive stuff from her. I'm sure she'll be climbing up the rankings pretty quickly because she does look pretty good, especially with her striking. She might be one of the best strikers in the UFC women's divisions right now. So these are the ELO rankings. Let's see if I have one more. Oh yeah. So here's my UFC performance by event. So if you look at the thumbnails, this matches exactly the thumbnails I've been posting. So we've only had one profitable week so far based off of UFC betting, unfortunately, and that was the first video I made. Ever since then, it's been kind of downhill so far. So my profits thus far after 5 events or a full month, it's minus 13 units, so not great, but again, it's still, I'm not panicking or anything like that. It's not the worst thing in the world. Give it some time, I would say. And then, so that's that. And I haven't lost $1,300. This is based off of $100 units. I'm not betting $100 units yet. Maybe someday again. And then this slide here, this is actually my actual performance based off of the actual units I'm betting, and also all the regional events that I also bet, which I'm not necessarily highlighting all those bets and picks. But you can see here, like for this past week, I won $79, and that's going to match this slide here, $79. So if you look at all my other recap videos, this total number here will match what you see on this slide. So actually, I've profited $52 since starting this, a month ago, and which is again still not great. I think I calculated it to be about 2% ROI, and I think I've lost about 150 some dollars just on the UFC, but I've won like $200+ off of regional events, right? Or regional being PFL, non-UFC events. And I think my non-UFC events, I'm actually about 15% ROI, which is pretty good. So just putting things in perspective, again, this last slide here, definitely not a good look for my channel, right? Doesn't look good because that's what the thumbnails are based off of. But in my personal betting experience, I've actually been in the green, so I'm not like really panicking or anything like that. But yeah, just thought I'd share. So that's the recap. We don't have any UFC this weekend, so I'm probably not going to make a video. I'll probably just take a break, and I'll come back maybe next Monday with the I think it's Sean Brady and Gilbert Burns. So I already have my picks for that card, but I'll just wait until the props come out so I actually have the real prop odds to share. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.